Okay. We are on the Kesuvos stuff. I'll come it out. For those who are going to be here tomorrow night, it might be a little bit late, but I will get here eventually.
Tell me when you're leaving.
Yeah, I'll let you around. But I'm going to leave around between a quarter to 9 and 9, depending on what's advantageous time. It's a Western, yeah.
I for sure never stayed in
Yeah. So I will try. Meeting here, not the kids. Okay. The son says the ORV. A woman who's a virgin, she gets married on Wednesdays. A woman who's a widow gets married on Thursdays. 2 days a week, but they didn't sit in the cities. On Mondays, on Thursdays. But Sulim, if he had a claim that his wife was found not to have her Basulim intact, he would go the early next morning to Beis Din to complain. Now, Bakapara Omar, there's the first 5 lines in Yerushalmi are mixed up. So the Mashbiach restructures them based on the Babli, which is very parallel to the Yerushalmi in this respect. Should be Bakapara Omar, and then skip down to the 4th line of the Gemara, Revi or Chamishi, Chamishi or Shishi. Do you see that? The 4th line of the Gemara begins with the word Revi. Okay, Revi or Chamishi, Chamishi or Shishi. Okay? That the Bakapara says when it says Wednesday here, it doesn't mean Wednesday night, which in Jewish law is Tuesday, rather it means Wednesday afternoon, which in Jewish law is Thursday evening. And Chamishi, it's Thursday afternoon, or Shishi, which is in Jewish law the eve of already towards Friday. Why is that? What's the logic of that? So going back one line above where we just read, Rabbi Yisrael, it says Taiba the Bar Kapara, the larger Kapara, and now going back to where to the first line of the Gemara, Mivnei Shekasabam Bracha, because it says Bracha on these days. But it's on both these days, Thursday and Friday, it says Puravu. So therefore, Hashem said Puravu to the animals on Thursday, to the birds on Thursday, to the animals and to mankind on Friday. So therefore, it's appropriate day for it to get married, to have the Bracha Puravu. So you get married on Wednesday, the eve of Thursday, or on Thursday, the eve of Friday. Says the Gemara, and following, see Bracha, because behold, it does not say Bracha, Chamishi b'Shishi bilvad. Only on the Thursday and Friday, the Chamishi b'Ofos, on the Thursday by the birds, of the dogim, and on the fish, of the Shishi on the 6th day, Vadam L'chava, for Adam and Chava. Now, we did the next line, skipping to the end of the next line. V'lo k'si Bracha b'Shi, we didn't say Hashem blessed the 7th day, Hashem blessed Shabbos, so let's get married on Friday nights. So says Gemara, V'shvi eiksi bracha b'brios. On Shabbos it doesn't say bracha about the creatures. El b'yoyim. Right? We want a bracha puravu, not just a bracha on Shabbos, right? So it says Vayvorach le'kadosh yom hashi Vayvorach so Shabbos. We want the bracha for puravu. So that's why we make marriages on Wednesday, the eve of Thursday, and on Thursday, the eve of Friday, right? So it says, now Gemara goes off on a tangent. Wait a minute. Does that mean they ever would have said a bracha to human beings on Shabbos? You allow women to get married on Shabbos? Not married, because they could get married on Friday. But you allow the first relations to take place on Shabbos. Lo ketai that we learn, lo evil adam be'ila b'tchila b'Shabbos. A person should not have relations with his wife for the first time on Shabbos, because he's wounding her, and it's forbidden to make a wound on Shabbos. Now, we ultimately are makel on this, but the Yerushalmi is going according to the opinion, which the machlokas both here and in the Bavli, as to whether one is allowed to make a wound on Shabbos in the course of breaking one's wife's basulim for the first time. El Ka'achirim, and here the Yerushalmi brings down the other opinion. So what are you going to say that like Achirim? Shnei Shachirim, because others are matirim. They allow you to have relations with your wife for the first time on Shabbos. Well, still, even the other ones who allow you to have the first relations with your wife on Shabbos, it's only when you did nisuin, when you already did a chuppah. Why is that? Because a chuppah is like a choshen mishpat activity, because you acquire all sorts of rights in your wife. And we're not going to let you do that kind of choshen mishpat activity, of course, on Shabbos, because it looks like you're making a kinyan, right? So therefore, you must make the chuppah before Shabbos begins. El b'shekonas, so it has to be that you made the chuppah before Shabbos began. Sha'at shlo konas, because before you make the chuppah, eno zakai lo b'mtziasa, you're not, the husband does not acquire neither stuff that she finds, nor her handiwork, nor may he annul her vows. B'shekonas, only once he marries her, zakai b'mtziasa, he gets her for the stuff she finds, ma'asiyoteh, and the handiwork of her hands, what she produces, and he's allowed to nullify her vows. So if you allow him to make chuppah for the first time on Shabbos, name says kinyan b'Shabbos. So that means you're making a kinyan on Shabbos, you can't make a kinyan on Shabbos. It's a d'Rabbanan, but a prohibition to make a kinyan on Shabbos, right? Amar said, now this tells us, as a result of this halacha, one must make the chuppah before Shabbos. So chuppah only works by a girl who's married for the first time, but not by a widow. By a widow, you actually have to do yichud, maybe even biyah, but certainly yichud you have to do in order to make the wedding consummated. By a basula woman the first time around, so it's the chuppah which does it. But later on, the second time around, the chuppah is not so choshev. They need to have actual yichud, right? So therefore, they said, "Adamra ilan the kotzit armala." Those who are marrying a widow, they have to make the yichud from before Shabbos begins. Shlo yekun koine kiddush Shabbos, so it should look like making a kiddush on Shabbos, and therefore you have to do not just the chuppah before Shabbos, but also the yichud. Now here it seems like something's missing. The Gemara really should ask the question. The same way the Gemara asks the Bavli, which bracha do you think is better? Which day of bracha? Is it Thursday or Friday? Because Thursday is just a bracha which is given to fish and birds, but Friday was given to human beings. So what should be a better day for a human being to get married? Friday. Why to get married on Thursday? I.e. Wednesday, Erev Thursday. Why should they get married Thursday, Erev Friday? Right? So says the Gemara, why? Unless says the reason of the Mishnah that we make it a day earlier, it means that it's married on Wednesday, the eve of Thursday, is if he has a problem with their basulim, he should go to Beis Din the next morning. If he gets married on a Thursday, the eve of Friday, he has to wait till next Monday. We want to go the next morning. Masnisa Messiah Rabbi Lezer. And the brisa we're about to bring is a proof to Rabbi Lezer. What's that? It says, Minas Sakara ve'elach, from the time of danger and on in. Time of danger, the Gemara brings down in the Bavli, is that they had a takana, not takana, a law, that all promulgated by the Greeks or whoever was occupying the land of Israel, that all virgins had to first have relations with the Greek governor or general, whatever it was, right? So in the Sakara Nagula Seis Bishlishi, they started getting married on Tuesdays. So the Greeks would get mixed up and not know that they were getting married, because the Greeks anticipated the marriages on Wednesdays. Chachamim did not protest. The person wants to get married on Monday, the eve of Tuesday, ain't show me low. We don't listen, because that's much too far removed from the court date, because the court date is on Thursday. He's getting married on Monday, the eve of Tuesday. He has 2 days to wait. On If it's because of onus, then you're allowed to get married even on Monday, the eve of Tuesday. Ma'u mibnei onus, what's the onus? Mibnei kshafim, because of witchcraft. Now, there are two versions here. The Korban Ein Chaz V'Sefer say, we're afraid that the witchcraft will delay the wedding. So we're allowed to make the wedding early to fool the witches. The other interpretation is that it's talking about a case where the Goyim, the Pnei Moshe, it's the place of the Goyim, say that the Jews make witchcraft when they get married. So therefore we try and throw them off so they don't accuse us of involving ourselves in covens and all sorts of witchery activities at the time. Okay? So Ma'amid Sheni Shlishi. What's if you get married on Monday, the eve of Tuesday, or Tuesday, the eve of Wednesday? I'll tell you, Lo Dome Mishtar Yom Echel Mishtar Shnei Yom. So comparison between being married one day or being married delaying one day, delaying 2 days. Says why? Mishtar Shnei Yom. What's the big difference if it's 2 days? Shlo Yerav Alav Mekach. We don't want him to get so buddy with his wife that he's going to decide, I won't go to court, I'll just keep her. Because we need him to go to court. So if he gets married Wednesday, the eve of Thursday, of course, he'll go the next morning. That's our Mishnah. If he gets married Tuesday, the eve of Wednesday, that's not Keferach. It's only 1 day. But if he gets married Monday, the eve of Tuesday, it's got a whole long 48-hour period to calm down. We don't want it to come down. We want it to come to Basin right away to check if he's allowed to remain with his wife or not. Okay? Now, why do we need to come to Basin? Because well, we want to ask a question. Make a big deal. Let him love his wife. So let him keep her. So what? She's not a psula. So Leis Yochel, he can't. Dom Rabbi L'Shem Rabbi Lezer. This is his name, Rabbi Lezer. Very famous Gemara. It's in the Bavli and Kesuvos Taftes, one of the most famous blot in all of Shas. You really don't? You have no recollection of Kesuvos? You're so weak on Kesuvos?
What I know is
that's Taftes. It's the Pasuach, right?
because it comes up so often.
Yeah, okay, fine. I was worried about you for there. Okay, so Amar Yilu Sher Lezer Matzah HaPesach Pasuach. If he finds the aperture open, right, he finds that she's not a psula, also l'kaima, he's not allowed to keep her. Mishum Safik Saita, because the question, maybe she is a Saita. Now this is going, as Yerushalmi will say explicitly later on, in the days when there was a gap of time between the betrothal, the Kiddushin, and the Nisuin. And we're afraid that she hanky-pankied around while she was Mikudeshes. And somebody who hanky-pankied, she was around when she's Mikudeshes, is forbidden to her husband forever. So therefore she's a Safik Saita, and therefore we have to have him come to court to have him to be told that he's forbidden to remain with her. Says more, wait a minute. Maybe she's okay. Maybe she was only raped. And as long as he's not a Kohen, then if she was raped, then she could remain with her husband. So what are we so concerned about? Says more, no. If she was raped, people would know about it. People know about rape victims. It's interesting because nowadays I don't think that's true. But back then, people made others aware of rape incidents. So therefore, we have a reusa. We have a harmful a phenomenon which has a harmful impact on that legitimacy of our leniency. We want to be lenient and say, well, maybe she was raped, in which case she's permitted to husband, maybe she was raped after marriage. But that leniency is undermined because we say that whenever there's rape, there's a concurrent rumor that she was raped, and this rumor did not exist in this case. Okay? Morass. So says Gemara, Bafil Tosha Mishum Anusa. Actually, does the Gemara in the Bavli ask that? Oh no, yeah, the Gemara's going to ask you too. Bafil, just a minute. Bafil Tosha Mishum Anusa. Even if you're going to say that she is an Anusa, right? Still, it's only one suffix. Lo suffix echad. Is it one? It's not one suffix. Meaning suffix anusa, suffix psucha. It's a suffix if she was raped. Suffix she was open because she didn't intentionally. So midvar Torah lachmir. So you said to be machmir. Not the Gemara didn't answer your question yet. The Gemara says so big deal. So even if it was one, there was a suffix, right? Let's say that there is a suffix she was raped or not. So still, it's only one suffix. It's something machmir has to get rid of her. Says Moram Rabbi Yisrael said no. Filu tachush milad mishum anusa. It doesn't mean literally even. It means if you could put the anusa into the equation, then it would be okay. Then I could say shtei sveikos. Or as it's called in the Bavli, sveika, right. Suffix anusa, double suffix, right? Suffix anusa, suffix psucha. I don't know about you. For me, this is mama. After Yavamas is like familiar ground. It's not so reassuring. Suffix anusa, suffix psucha. It's a suffix if she was raped, or suffix she was open because she was open to it, meaning that she was willful, right? Suffix we should not but even if she was, even if you're going to say was with her willfully, suffix mishanis arsa with still a second suffix. Maybe it only happened after she got affianced, after she was betrothed. Suffix got shalotares. Maybe it maybe it happened before she got betrothed. So therefore, shtei sfeikas, it's a sfeika, midvar Torah laka midaraisa, we would be mako. Because a double suffix, we're always lenient. And it's a suffix if it happened afterwards, or suffix, ratzon, suffix, onus. Suffix was willful or not, and suffix tachtav, suffix eno tachtav. It was willful, it might have been before he married her. So it says, well, that's why, so theoretically, that sfeika would allow us to be mako. If not for what we said, then anusa yesh loko. What undermines her sfeika? It can only be a single suffix, because if she was anusa, it would have been a kol. Since there's no kol, so we eliminate that suffix, and we're left with only one suffix. Suffix if it happened underneath him or not, but we assume that definitely was baratzon, and therefore she's also to him, and that's who wanted to come to Basin, and Basin tell him you must divorce this woman. Okay, it's basically the same story as Yerushalmi, only as the Bavli, if I recall correctly. Says the Gemara, Kiddush b'chuppah. Now, as I mentioned, this is not in the Bavli. Kiddush b'chuppah, if you immediately do kiddushin under the chuppah like we do today, right? Lace by Ilan Kansaya. In this case, you don't have these fines, meaning she's not forbidden to her husband, right? Because she didn't have time to be mizana under him, right? Whatever she was mizana before. So even if it's willful, before she got married, so therefore she's permitted. Okay? And Army, they said, Rami Matanya, he was nervous, I guess. He had a daughter who was somewhat slutty, I guess. Because it says Matanya, over the Varte came, he made sure his daughter got married under the chuppah. He didn't let her have any kiddushin beforehand. I don't know. Maybe she was big tzaddikas, but I don't know why the Gemara is stressing that. I'll die to Rabbi Lezer. Now, according to Rabbi Lezer, says the issue is that we wanted to come to court. Wherever court sit every day, or take out the next three words. We're going to put them a line down. Or where Batei Dinim don't sit ever, right? So, and in those two places, it should be here, take out the next four words, Loti to say Kol Ikar, and put in the three words in line before Tina say B'chol Yom. Or it's in both of these, it's for in the Chasim Sefer. Or it's in both these places, if Basin sits every day, or Basin doesn't sit at all anyway, so she might as well get married any day of the week, right? Because there's no advantage to one day over than the other day, right? Isn't that obvious, right? So it says, Mark, you're right, but Shlolak Korzmano Sharivi. So nevertheless, we don't want to uproot Wednesday. Once it made Wednesday is the Takana, in place where a basin does sit, so we don't want to uproot that Takana and retain it, even in places where a basin doesn't sit. Says the Gemara, big deal! Yaakov Mano Sharivi. What do we care? What's holy about Wednesday? Says one, no, there is something holy about Wednesday. You forgot. He also is like Bar Kapara. Bar Kapara man, Nishkatsu Ben. The reason why it's Wednesday, Erev Thursday, even in a place where there is no Beis Din, is in order to have the relations take place on Thursday when the bracha was said of the beruva. Right. So the Tina Seber Rishon says the Gemara. Now going back without the Bar Kapara, we're going to come back to Bar Kapara again in a minute. Why can't you get married on Sunday? V'yashkin lebeis din b'sheni. Why not get married on Sunday and get up early and go to Beis Din on Monday and say she's also, as many chassidus start on Sunday nowadays. Not for that reason. That's what. Don't give away the away. You have to give it away. Says Gemara, v'yashkin lebeis din b'sheni. So it says Easter boy Meimar Shalul Akros Marasharvi. So some said again not to approve Wednesday, but for a different reason. The Gemara will explain presently. Easter boy Meimar. Some said Kador Tari Bar Kapar, like Bar Kapar said. The Bar Kapar Meimnesh because ben bracha, because of bracha. Nevertheless, what's the other reason? The other reason is Shavin. Everybody agrees. She says lo be'erev Shabbos, lo motzei Shabbos. She can't get married neither on Fridays nor on motzei Shabbos. Lo Erev Shabbos, interesting because we do have chasnas Erev Shabbos, but they're called not Erev Shabbos because of the covenant of Shabbos. What does it mean the covenant of Shabbos? Because the couple of interpretations of the Korban. One is that if you make the marriage on Friday, you're not going to eat on Shabbos, and the meals on Erev Shabbos. You're not going to eat on with Shabbos with the same geschmack. So therefore, it actually is only answering it in that case if you make the meal on Friday, because then you won't eat Friday night with the same relish and gusto. But otherwise, you couldn't make it Erev Shabbos. Lo Motzei Shabbos, and Motzei Shabbos you can't make them wedding either. Chavrayim Avnei Torach. Some because of Torah, some say Torah means Korban means that three pshatim. One is that he's concerned all of Shabbos, how he's going to plan the wedding Motzei Shabbos and manage his own Shabbos. Another interpretation is because since Shabbos he was all at rest, and with Motzei Shabbos all of a sudden he has to go into a hostel and bustle and prepare the wedding. It's bad for his health. Yet another pshat is that he doesn't have enough time to work on the chasna if it's Motzei Shabbos, and that gets back to what you said before, right? That's why we don't make a chasna on Sunday. Why do we make a chasna on Sunday? The other reason, which more than it's specified before, because like the Bavli says, the Yerushalmi has used this lashon, says, Shoktu chachom et takonos panos Yisrael. Yerushalmi uses a different language. Chachom are diligent in trying to get Jewish girls a nice chasna, that a person should have 3 days to prepare for the chasna. Okay? Says where Rabbi Yossi says, top of base of now, make covenant Shabbos. The reason why you don't make a Motzei Shabbos because the honor of Shabbos, meaning that if you make a Chas Motzei Shabbos, so people are going to want to leave room for that smorgasbord Motzei Shabbos. So therefore they're not going to eat as well on Shabbos, so it goes gets covered Shabbos. Or else the Yerushalmi, or else they interpret the Yerushalmi like based on the Bavli, although I don't know how they fit this in so well, that we're afraid that you might come to slaughter animals on Shabbos in order to make your meal. The thing is, I'm not sure why that's called Covet Shabbos. We call it like, Lecha Shabbos or something like that. Anyway, Masnisa Messiah Chevraya, so Bright such a right to the Chevraya that's because of preparations they make Motzei Shabbos. Why they say a woman who's a virgin gets married on Wednesday. Says so a person has 3 days to prepare his necessities. Rabbi Povak Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yaakov Rabbi said, also ordinarily so you should bear Shabbos. You're not allowed to get married on Erev Shabbos. Now, as we said before, the name of Korban Hadad, that's Amrla, so su that famous, that's to make the Su'uda, because that's going to ruin your Shabbos meal. Now, the reason the Korban Eidah says Korban Shabbos meal is because you're going to have too much fun Erev Shabbos. And Friday night, you're just going to, roll over in bed, as people do nowadays, even without chasnas and Erev Shabbos, right? But in any event, that's Shari Torah Eretz Yisrael says the problem is that you're going to cook and cook and cook for the meal, for the wedding meal, you're not going to have cooked enough for Shabbos, right? Everything's going to go for the wedding meal. And he says an interesting thing. He says that therefore he thinks that Erev Yom Tov it's okay to make a chasna, because in Erev Shabbos if you don't have enough food, you can't make it on Shabbos. But in Erev Yom Tov, you don't have enough food, you make it on Yom Tov itself. So therefore he wants to say it's mutter to make it Erev Yom Tov. That's not the Pashas in the Gemara. Pashas in the Gemara is that both Erev Shabbos and Erev Yom Tov would be also. But maybe he's right. Says a little further, not even whole Elois, but to betroth, you're allowed to betroth on Erev Shabbos itself. Shmuel b'Tisha is the one we've had several times in Yerushalmi already. Even on Tisha B'Av, you're always allowed to get betrothed. In order that somebody else shouldn't chap around your intended fiance. Mechav she does this Shmuel's contradicts Shmuel Shita elsewhere. Talmud Oimer, there he says, Elokim Moishivya B'Yichidim Baisa. HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts individuals in a house. In other words, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Mezabek Zivurim. He puts couples together. Bemos Naim in the balance, Lalos Hema, to uplift themselves, Mehevel, from emptiness, Yachad, together. So it's all Bashert. And here he's saying the opposite. He's saying you better chap her right and get betrothed her before somebody else chaps her, right? El shloi kad meno acher b'tfilah. You don't want somebody else to chap her right, not that somebody else can chap her right by grabbing her onto her, literally, but by changing the mazel, changing the flow of the world by davening. Now elsewhere in Shas we said that means that even you can chop somebody else's bashert by davening for it, nevertheless, the marriage's not going to last. You're either going to die young or she'll die young. Something will happen. It ain't going to last. But the Pshat Eretz has an interesting Pshat here. I don't think it's Pshat. But he wants to say, Avi Shlo Kaima means, Avi Chen Lo Kaima means that even though Shmuel said this halacha, you're allowed to betroth a woman on Tisha B'Av, but Shmuel wants himself at such a Maisa. And he wasn't Mekayim his own halacha. Meaning he put off the Kiddushin until after Tisha B'Av. He didn't actually do it on Tisha B'Av. Okay?
So this implies that prayer can change.
Yeah, prayer can change mazel. Very, very sincere prayer, obviously. It might not be for your benefit, though. Yeah. That's correct. We had a moikot. Now, Velus, sure. Okay? Rabbi Chia B'Sher Evo Omar. Oslo Dundi Momenos Erev Shabbos. Now to judge court cases on Erev Shabbos. So, Masisa Pliga. But it doesn't surprise the argument, it says, ain't Doni Lo Erev Shabbos Lo Erev Yotiv. Now to judge either Erev Shabbos Lo and nor Erev Yotiv. Dine Nefashos. Capital crimes. Or Dine Momenos. It sounds like you can't do monetary issues. The time of Chia learned this explicitly as Brisa. Doni Dine Momenos Erev Shabbos. One can do monetary claims on Erev Shabbos, just not Avalodin Foshas. So it's a very interesting thing. Kan la locha. Erochanami. You're right. From the strict viewpoint, you're allowed to have court case in Erev Shabbos. But kan la dvar Torah. Now, dvar Torah means not dvar Torah like, when you get up and say dvar Torah. It means for dvar horah. And what it means is that we don't paskin for somebody that they can start a court case on Friday. Where it's like halacha vein morin came. They have that in Bavli a couple of times. Halacha, which we don't actually implement. Here too, the halacha is you're allowed to judge monetary cases in Erev Shabbos. But ein morin came. It's not a dvar Torah. It's not the way we paskin because we prefer to avoid getting into such situations. So even though according to the strict letter of the law, you're allowed to judge monetary claims Erev Shabbos, it's best to avoid it so we don't go out and be moira that one is allowed to actually set up court full day on Erev Shabbos. Okay? So Dvar Torah means it's Dvar Raw. Rabbi Yonam Shem Rabbi Crispa said, Bogeres kechavis psuchai. A Bogeres is like an open jug. What is Bogeres? I'm caught in the airstream. What is a Bogeres? Girl at what age? Over 12 and a half. So over 12 and a half, they lose their psulim. Not all of them, obviously. But they start losing their psulim when they're over 12 and a half. So he says, if a girl's over 12 and a half, it's like she's like an open barrel. Now, what does that mean? That means, says the Gemara, if you find she was open, right, she didn't have psulim, you still have to pay her 200 zuz, the full ksuva. But you now have to keep her as you ride, mishum safek sota, because of safek sota. Now, that's a very interesting thing. Very interesting dichotomy. The Gillian Ephraim says that this is talking about specifically a case where you had relations with your wife, she was a Bulgarian, you found she had no psulim, you ask her, how come you had a psula? So she says, I don't know. So in that case, since she doesn't she says, I don't know, you have to assume maybe she was mizana. Were she have said, it's because I'm too old, I'm over the hill, then that would be okay. But if she doesn't say that, then you have problems. The Carbonator says, talking about a case where he says he's sure that the reason she doesn't have psulim is because she was mizana. So that's why he's shavya anavshe. He makes her vis-a-vis himself kechaticha d'isur, like a forbidden piece of meat. Okay, so really she's not forbidden, because maybe she lost it because of age. But since he believes that she lost because she was not a psula, so therefore he's not to be married to her. Okay? So that's why it says he can't cause her to lose her ksuba. Because monetarily she says, I didn't trick you, I'm a Bulgaris. But he can, either because she doesn't explain herself, or because he doesn't believe her, she can lose her right to live with him. Okay? Va'asya.
What's the underlying basis for the fact that she doesn't explain herself?
What?
So therefore, what's the logic that she doesn't explain herself? Why say she doesn't lose?
She doesn't lose her ksuba.
She does not?
Even if she doesn't explain herself, she doesn't lose her ksuba.
Does not?
No. She only loses the right to live with him, which she might not have wanted anyway. Because he has to prove that she actually is mizana. We're learning that once he's obligated to him with the ksuba, he has to prove that she was mizana in order to deprive her of her ksuba. And of course he can't prove that.
But if she doesn't explain herself, why can't she live with the husband just because?
Because we have a suffix. Maybe she was mizana. One suffix. Or one of the two. Either one of the two. Yeah. That's correct. What? No, it's not. Either one. I mean, the carbonated says because of Shavia and Nafshi, but the Gillian Ephraim says because he needs something to overcome his one suffix. If he doesn't say anything, then his suffix still remains. Okay, so it says the Gemara, and this is going like Rabbi Chanina said, it's my woman who couldn't find any basulim by her. And the story came before Rebbe. He said to her, Rebbe said to the Kala, where are your basulim? Or where could your basulim be? Or where could they be? So Amalei, she said, the steps of my father's house were very high. So I took broad steps, and when I took those big steps, they fell out. Rebbe believed her. So if she claims she's a Mukaseit, then we do believe her. Okay? Now, getting back to the previous statement, we said, this is a quote from the previous statement, where she doesn't say anything, she doesn't lose her ksuva, but he can't keep her because maybe she's a sota. Like we learned over there, that normally you can keep her because actually normally she gets a full ksuva normally, because we have a lacha. Besula, the woman is a besula, zamana, grusha, v'chalutza min erusin. Her first husband only betrothed her and she was divorced, and then got a chalitza, or was an amana from a widow from the erusin. Ksuvas on masayim. So their ksuva is $200. V'yesh le'entaynis pesulim. But you can claim against them if they found you're not a psula. And you can claim against them if they were found not to be a psula. Because the assumption is that they're psulim. Psula almona, however, a woman claims she's a psula, even when she is already an almona, a widow, a grusha, a divorcee, a chalutza minan suin. So then ksuvas almona. Then the whole ksuva is only $100 because how largely we don't give them the status as psulos, even though they say they're psulos, we don't give them the status of psulos, right? And therefore, their ksuva is only $100, not $200. Ve'im ksuvas pesulim, they have tainis pesulim, so they don't have a tainis pesulim. In other words, even if they found they have no pesulim, tough luck. You have to have assumed that they were lying when they were said they're pesulos. They're trying to make sure they got another shidduch, but really you should have assumed, since they underwent Nisuim, that they had no Basulim anymore. Now, so obviously a Bogeres in the first category, she gets a full Ksuva, and there is a Tainus Basulim against her, unless she responds and gives some excuse for herself, right? Says the Gemara, all this is talking about the Ksuva of $100 or $200. But unless she has an explanation for why she's not a psula, he can't keep her. Mishum Safik Sota, because the same Safik Sota. I guarantee about where she doesn't have an explanation for herself, or Shavi and Nafshi the Chatika Disura, or call some conglomeration of those two reasons, she can't be kept. She gets a psula, but she can't be kept. Okay? Says Rav Asya, this is going kind of theater like we learned over there. It's a later Mishnah in Masech Kesuvos. It's a Chame Bula, somebody who eats by a Shvel in Yehuda, Shlobeim, and there are no witnesses around. That's it. He can't tie his Basulim anymore. You know why? There are no witnesses. What's going to happen? Hanky panky, right? So therefore, because they're secluded, and you know what seclusion leads to, right? I forget who said there was some modern Orthodox joke against the right wing. They say that the right wing, the right wing asks her premarital sexual relations because it might lead to mixed dancing. So here we have the opposite. In other words, we have here yichud leading to premarital relations, and in fact, because then Yehuda you can't ever tie in times Basulim because they have yichud together, right? Now that's harder than the Ksuvas Mana Masayim. That's why in terms of the Ksuva, she can't lose the Ksuva because he knew that he was responsible for her losing her psulim. But let's say or there was a likelihood that she would lose a psulim at his hands. But let's say he claims, nope, I didn't have relations with her. He claims that. So he's not believed to cause her to lose her ksuva, right? Because he's just a claimant, right? He's not a witness. But he is believed that he can't live with her. Right? Because again, Shavi Nafshi Surah in this case, he's obviously made her vis-a-vis himself forbidden. As it says here, Avlakaiman or Shayne Safik Sozo. Avasya kind of Suya also goes like we learned to see, we learned. I know say Seisha, I'm sorry, he marries a woman. The love of times of he doesn't find that she's a psula. He marries me sure aside and nasty. She says, it's your tough luck. I was raped after I was betrothed, and your field got flooded, meaning it's your bad luck that a woman who was lawfully married to you got raped. He says, lo hagwash. He says, no, you were raped before I married you. And therefore I had a mistake in acquiring you, because I thought you were absolutely, you turned out to be a be'ula, woman I had relations already. So in that case, we say that she's believed. Although it's not brought down here, it's just shorthand here. Later in the Masechta, we're going to learn she's believed. So why is she believed? when she says that was under his jurisdiction. That's vis-a-vis her ksuva. She gets a full ksuva. But again, he can't keep her mishum safik soita because of the safik that maybe Shitaka was mizana underneath it.
How about there's no toll here? She says she was ready to shoot the toll.
It's a good question. She doesn't have a call. Well, maybe it's part of what the Gemara is about to say. So he says, she can only claim that vis-a-vis a ksuba, because vis-a-vis a ksuba she could say, well, kol is not a definite raya against me. In fact, there was no kol is not a definite raya against me. You still have to bring definite proof that you don't owe me the money. But vis-a-vis, you're right, vis-a-vis, they're living together. But he can't keep her, because even though she claims anusa mishum savik soita, there was no. Hiomer, she says mukaseitzani. Mukaseitz means that she lost her psulim by some accident, like by getting hit with a piece of wood between the legs. So she says it was an accident. He says, you were actually you actually had relations with the man. Now, she's believed. In the ksuva. But that's not true about whether he can keep her because she thinks she's a sota. So therefore he can't keep her. And this all goes back to Rabbi Hila said, Rabbi Lezer, which you learned to blot to go, Matzah Pesach B'soch, you find the aperture open, so then also the Kaimin out, keep him Shum Safik Soita, because question of Soita. Okay, so it says a very interesting question. Al Bait Rabbi Lezer, Bogeres, Emosai Nises. Or Bogeres, when is...
How long after she becomes over again? How long as she waits, the less soon she
Yeah, but that's not the question. The question is, what day of the week does she get married? Because what day of the week? If she doesn't have psulim anyway, but it's a reasonable assumption she doesn't have psulim, so she has to get married on Wednesday. Right? Also, she claims she's a psula, but she was already fully married beforehand. So actually, there's no claim in court on her that she's a psula, and therefore she can't lose her ksuva, right? And Amos says, what day of the week does she get married? Mukas Eitz Krabi Meir. A woman who's Mukas Eitz Krabi Meir. Now, she can't lose her ksuva, and he's not going to... It's a cute case. She can't lose her ksuva. Meir holds that her ksuva is $200. We don't pass Mukas Eitz, one who lost her psulim because of an accident, only gets $200. But I can mention she gets $200. So he knows he's not going to find psulim, right? She doesn't have them. And she's going to get $200 regardless, right? So does she have to get married on Wednesday because of low plug or not? And the question is by all these women who are not in the category of a complete time psulim, either because we assume they're not a psula or they're going to get $200 anyway, do they have to get married on Wednesday? So that's one very interesting proof that they do not.
Before she goes into the marriage, she tells him that she's a Mukas.
Yeah. We're talking about a case like that. Does she have to get married on Wednesday? Okay? So it says, from here. There are cases where we bring testimony. How do we know that a woman was a psula she got married? We remember that she was wearing a veil. It doesn't say there. Why does it say, how do we know if a woman was a psula when she got married? Because she got married on a Wednesday. It means she's a psula. If she didn't get married on Wednesday, it means it's not a psula. Why don't we say such a proof? The ways to be a clue, it must be that you don't always have to get married on Wednesday, even if you're a basula. Okay? In other words, I should put it like this. If you're married another day, it doesn't mean you're not a basula. Because it could be there are exceptions to the rule cases where women are basulos and they're not getting married on Wednesday. So therefore, it means that not all women have to get married on Wednesday, and therefore we look for other. Not all basulas get married on Wednesday. If you're married on Wednesday, it's not a proof you're a basula, and therefore we look for another proof that you're a basula. What's that? The proof of whether you had a veil or not. Okay. Veil's not a basula no matter what day of the week. Right. Okay. Says more further. Now we have a very easy, almost I got it to Gemara, but not quite. If Amana, where does Amana get married? Yom Chamishi on Thursday. Shim Omer Atlo Be'echad B'chol Yomot Shabbos. If you tell them they're married any other day of the week, hey, business is business. Bottom line, Afu Mashkim Yitzim Lachto. The next morning, what is he going to do? Go to work. He told Shat Omer Lo B'chamishi, so instead of getting married Thursday night, Abu Sameach Maso take off work Friday. Abu Sameach will be happy with her Chamishi Shishi, the Thursday afternoon, this Friday, Rishmi and Shabbos. They won't go back to work till Sunday. Moshe Yiskin Shivas Imei Mishnah. Moshe made takana of 7 days of Mishnah after a chasta, Sheva Brachas. V'Shivas Imei Avelus, 7 days of Avelus. V'Lo Yiskin Amona Klum. He didn't make it Amona any days of Simcha. Afa God the Tema Lo Yiskin. The reason why we know 7 days Moshe Rabbeinu made it because it's mentioned in the Torah. Sheva Brachas is mentioned by Lavan, right? Not Lavan, but, Leah, right. Leah got 7 days. And the 7 days of Avelos are mentioned by Yosef, right? Vayas Laviv Evel Shiva Yomin. Now, neither of these things are Doraisos. That's why it says Moshe Tikei. Moshe put in the Torah, but it's not a Doraisa, because they're not Taryag mitzvahs, right? Only the Rabbanans. But the Moshe Rabbeinu put them into play already by putting the Torah. So it's for Mantur, that's true. So nevertheless, even though he didn't make a takona for Amona, Tuna Bracha, she's got to get the 7 blessings under the chuppah. How do you know that? Me Boaz. For the case of Boaz and Ruth. The Chsiv says, Vaikach Boaz, Asran Nashim. This is in the Bible as well. He took 10 people, Miziknir from the elders of the city. For every said, Shlupo, sit here, Vayesh, they sat. Amar Alexandra, Alexandra said, Mikan was Gotham Rashayla Shade, at Shumalo Guru Shade. But here we see that this is not in the Bible. A Kotan, a smaller stature person, may not sit down, be seated until the greater stature person tells him to be seated. And other Pinchas also not in the Bible. Mikan, now here's a typo in the Gemara, it should be like the gears on the side, in the fine print on the side. Mikan, Lebais Hazeh, not the din. Shehain, not She'ain. Shehain memani zkeini b'vati mishtoyer shalem. So the rest, it means that this house, meaning the house of the Nasi, because both from the house of Nasi, they would give the elders the kippurim in the Beis HaMishta. And we do that, of course, to this day, right? They would give for Beis HaMishtoyers, they would give the brachas to the Rabbanim, okay? Or the Gvirim, doesn't say who, but Chashva people. Okay? It's Canaan, yeah. Elders. Yeah. You take your choice. Lezer said, Mikad, from here for Rusi, learn the Birkas Chasayim Shibasar, that share both with 10 people. Now, this is not just when a bacher, a bachelor marries for the first time, marries a psula, a virgin for the first time, in which case you have 7 days of blessing, so you require 7 blessings. And I feel Amona, even a widower marrying a widow, also gets Sheva Brachos, 7 blessings, although not 7 days of Sheva Brachos. Where does he have me? Boaz, Shayo Amon. Boaz was a widower. Rusai saw Amon, she was a widow. Now, how do we know he was a widower? This is not in the Bible either. Said the rest of the derivation. It says, see if it says when Naomi came back from Moab, it says, Vateum Kulir. The entire city was in a state of discombobulation. Okay, is that possible? Kol Kartam is Bible, everybody's discombobulated. Begin Naomi, because of Naomi, I will leave to honor degradation. Who cares? She was just another green card woman, right? Ella, rather, Ishto Shabbos Mesa Bosayo. We have a Messiah that Boaz's wife died on the same day Naomi came back, right? Ad Kol Amor Gamachista, while everybody was being Chomal Chesed to Boaz's wife, according to Leviah, Nichnasa Rus im Naomi, Rus came into the city with Naomi. Nimtze, so came out, Zu Yotzes, the first wife went, Zu Nichneses, the second wife came in. Tani, we learned, Omri B'Chasarim, we say the B'Sheva Brachas, Kol Shiva, all the 7 days of Mishnah. Now, these parentheses are meant to be read. Rabbi Yehuda Savar Meimar Mafkin Kas Kol Shiva, very interesting discussion. He says you need the Kala all 7 days. It's not good enough to have the Chosin around. You need to have the Kala. It's interesting, we have the minhag today, even though the Yerushalmi is not going to come out this way. Minhag is even Sheva Brachos where they have bulletproof mechitzas between the men and the women. They bring the Kala to the Chosin for benching. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever been extremely greasy Sheva Brachos. Greasy meaning the language of far right? No? Yeah, for benching they either bring together or they have, a lot of times Yeshiva Slam sit together side by side and the mechitza runs between them. Right? Or the mechitza runs up to the head table. That's what happened at Yeshiva's wedding. The head table is never split. But Chassidish Chasna, where they actually split, the head table into, so then very often they'll bring the Kala over for benching. So in any event, that's what Rabbi Yehuda says. You bring out the Kala all 7 days. So I believe it's a fascinating comparison. Only Yerushalmi does, probably would never do this. Only Rabbi Yossi, wait a second. By the time Rabbi say, Omri Birkas Avelim Kol Shiva. You say Birkas Avelim all 7 days too, right? We no longer do it, but they have special bracha and benching, they used to say, in the house of Avelis. So Yitzchak Meimar Mafkin Mesa Kol Shiva. So what, do you have to roll out the corpse all 7 days to say the bracha of Avelis? You have to roll out the Kala. That's what you have to roll off the corpse by the vase, right? So says the word. My Kadun. What's the conclusion? Says more, no, you misunderstood. The comparison is not between the mace and the Kala. Makan Menachim Imo, the comparison is between the person's being consoled, right? Because he not made the bracha for the mace, he made the bracha for the person who's the other. So just like here you need the other, Afkam Sameach Imo. So to here you need the Misameach, in other words, you need the Chosin with you, right? You need the Kala with you. Now actually it's ambiguous, this Gemara, and the Korban picks up on that. It's not clear. It could be that Makan Menachim Imo, Afkam Sameach Imo doesn't mean you need the Kala, means you need the Chosin only. In other words, you need to have, there is a parallel. Parallel is that there you need the mourners being consoled. And here, Menachim Imo means you're Menachim with the mourner. Here to Mesameach Imo, you're Mesameach with him. But here, it could be that the Gemara is saying, just like over, there are two ways of interpreting this. One interpretation is that means you need, just like over there, you need the Avel, so here you need the Kala, because that's the parallel. Or you could say, no, just like there, all you need is the Avel and not the mace. So to here, all you need is the Chosin and not the Kala. Right?
The whole simcha is a Chosin and Kala.
No, your simcha is with the Chosin. His simcha is with the Kala. Right? You're happy for him that he has a Kala. Okay? So that is a legitimate way of looking at it. That's a separate thing, but that's not the brachas. Because the brachas are a function of a minion. So it could be that the brachas are separate. So it says Makan Mezkirin, Afkan Mezkirin. So just like over here we mentioned the Simcha, the Avela, so we don't need the mace. So here we mentioned the Simcha, we don't need the Kala. And that's how the Korban says, that's how the 3 lines from the bottom of the Korban says that's how the Ran shot, and that's how we paskin. I don't know if that's a paskin, I should say. But he says, Kenika, that's the Ikram shot in the Yerushalmi. That you don't need to have the Kala, you just need to have the Chosin. Okay, let's just get to Rav. Tanya Rabbi Yehuda said, Yehuda B'Yishrayna, and Yehuda once upon a time, when I meet him, most of Shnei Shoshvinim. There used to be 2 best men who used to make sure there was no hanky-panky, because Yehuda there were a lot of hanky-panky. Echad Mishel Kala, Echad Mishel Chosin. One for the Kala side, one for the Chosin side. to make sure everything went through for fine and proper, so at the end there could be a Tainus Basulim. If there were no Basulim, they could know that there was a legitimate claim. I guess so, yeah. No. Nevertheless, they're only there at the times of the Nisuin, which is a very strange thing. I know. So it sounds like it must be a case. I couldn't really figure it out today when I was thinking about it. It must be with some of our case where they said they both trust each other, that there was no hanky-panky beforehand. But they're concerned that at the actual chasna, maybe she'll slip in some ketchup, something like that, to pretend she's a psula even though she's not. Or maybe he'll slip away with the sheets to pretend she's not a psula. So therefore, we're talking about at the time of the actual nisuin. Well, the goal is again, they didn't have any shoshvina. In Yehuda originally, they would also have that they would do yichud of the chassan by the kala in order they should be familiar with each other. Well, the goal is again, they wouldn't do that in Gala. The shoshvin would check the room where the chassan and kala were going to have relations the first night. Well, the goal is again, they wouldn't do that. The shvin would sleep in close proximity to chassan kala to make sure there was no funny business going on with ketchup or stealing sheets. And go, they wouldn't do this. Anyway, says the Gemara, this is all part of the Brisa. He cannot taina tainas basulim. Now, Tom and Tzim learned over there, it should be Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Kol gefen yesh bo yain, v'she'en bo yain turkati. All grapevines have wine. But there are grapevines which don't have wine, and that's called turkati. I mean, there's certain women who don't have blood. They don't have blood of basulim, even if they are basulas. Says Mar, that's the case. Rabbi Boy Me'ato ain't Tainus basulim Rabbi. That's the case. Could there be Tainus basulim? Because you could say she's from the family of Turkati, who doesn't have any Tainus, doesn't have any blood. So says the Gemara, Rabbi Yosef says, Kol Garma Amra Sheyesh Tainus basulim Rabbi. The previous price teaches us that there is a Tainus basulim, because it gave us the previous price. The time Rabbi Yehuda gave us that old price which says the thing about the shoshvinim. So Rabbi Yehuda must hold that there's Tainus basulim. So how does he hold Tainus basulim? We'll leave that for tomorrow night.
So my question is.